It's 3rd and 9. Fields, processing. Oh! Jalen Reeves-Maybin gets the sack on Fields, and you guys know what that means. Our very first Squidward bite out of a cheeseburger. You see that? That's a Squidward bite. Here we go. The game recap of the Lions and Chicago Bears. The Chicago Bears defeated the Detroit Lions 28-13, and the game isn't technically over yet at the time of this recording, but this is right after that interception that Goff just threw. So right around the 2-minute warning. Let's look at the stats. Box score stats right now at this point. Jared Goff, 20 for 35, 161 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Justin Fields, 19 for 33, 223 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions. Fields also has 10 carries for 60 yards and a running touchdown. And then Jahmyr Gibbs, 11 carries, 66 yards, 1 touchdown run. David Montgomery, 10 carries, also 66 yards. Wow, I think the devil's work is at play here. And then Chicago's rushing, aside from Fields, D'Onta Foreman, 10 carries for 43 yards. DJ Moore, 3 carries for 20 yards. That was like first half stuff for him there. Detroit's receiving, Josh Reynolds, 3 receptions for 44 yards. Sam Laporta, 2 receptions for 23 yards. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 3 receptions for 21 yards. David Montgomery, 3 receptions for 19 yards. DPR, Donovan Peoples-Jones, he had a key catch, 1 reception for 17 yards as well. Jahmyr Gibbs, 3 receptions for 16 yards. Khalif Raymond, 3 receptions for 15 yards. And then Chicago's receiving, DJ Moore, 6 receptions, 68 yards. Cole Kmet, 5 receptions for 66 yards. Darnell Mooney, 2 receptions for 44 yards. And then D'Onta Foreman, 2 receptions for 22 yards. The ball spread around quite well on both sides there. And then Graham Glasgow and Jared Goff, they had that fumble on that snap, which I think was probably the big key to that loss there. It killed the momentum on that drive where we could have gone within and gotten close to taking the lead there. And then not to mention the interceptions Goff threw. Let's look at Detroit's defense here real quick. Kaminsky had a sack. Benino Jones had a tackle for loss. Kendall Vildor, whom I have no idea who he is. I'll have to look into him more. He got a tackle for loss. Aiden Hutchinson got a sack. All right. Nice to see Aiden Hutchinson back in the sack column, even though he's been doing a really good job with pressures and all that. Had a couple QB hits as well. Jalen Reeves-Maybin also had a sack. So, yeah, get Jalen Reeves-Maybin some reps on defense because clearly it's working in a lot of the instances there. So, and then, yeah, it's just and the Bears had 4 sacks according to this. And then I'm going to go to team stats. First downs, 19. Bears had 19 while the Lions had 13. Each team had a total play of 63 plays. Last I checked it with this, we're still at the 2-minute warning according to this. Chicago had a total of 337 yards to Lions 267 yards. Passing yards, Chicago had 194 to Detroit's 127. Rushing yards, Bears had 143 to Lions 140. Red zone, Bears were 2 for 5, where Detroit was 2 for 2. Penalties, I think this is another place where the Lions lost the game too. The Bears had 4 penalties for 35 yards, where the Lions had 8 penalties for 59 yards too. Got to cut down on those penalties. And Detroit had 3 turnovers, while the Bears had 0 turnovers. 2 of them interceptions and 1 on fumbles lost. So time of possession, Bears 32 minutes, 45 seconds. Detroit, 26 minutes, 41 seconds. And, yeah, if you pay attention to the Lions and you're realistic about the Bears. You knew this game was probably going to be a difficult game regardless of what the Bears' record is because you're playing in Soldier Field. Weather could have been a factor. It didn't look like it was too much in this game, maybe besides the cold. Not to mention the fact that the Bears' defense, they've been playing really well these last few games, especially like when they lost to Detroit earlier, and then they beat Minnesota on Monday Night Football, but they've been doing a really good job of getting interceptions, like batting down passes, getting sacks, all around great defensive play. And, their running back room is completely healthy, and Justin Fields is doing Justin Fields things. So the Bears, just like the Green Bay Packers, are all of a sudden looking like a pretty tough out to play. So, and keep in mind, they're a team that probably jumped from having the 5th overall pick to now having the 11th or something like that, not to mention the first overall pick that they already own from the Carolina Panthers. DJ Moore coming up clutch, players like Cole Clement, and not to mention Justin Fields and his ability to run and do dual threat quarterback things. So I think I felt like the defense for a lot of this game played really well for a while, at least better than what they had been. They're getting more pressure on the quarterback. We saw some sacks, which is always good. We saw some nice deflections from players like Jacobs, but then there's other times later in the game where they just kind of wound up getting out-schemed and got outbeat by certain pass plays, which resulted on points on the board. And, yeah, it's they showed progress in some areas, and then other areas like the Lions defense just the game just got away from them, which is unfortunate. And then the turnovers, I think, are a big key to that. And, credit to Chicago for a lot of those interceptions because they've been doing a good job of that. And then, the Lions actually pretty much had to run the ball for the majority of this game because they knew passing would result in some interceptions, and that's what happened. And, players like St. Brown and Laporta did not get as much receiving yards this time around. And, yeah, all those things mounted up to a Lions loss against the Chicago Bears, who are playing spoiler right now for a lot of people. And the Lions fall to 9-4? 9-4. So we got to wait and see what the Vikings do. And maybe not they will win or lose, but we still had a pretty decent lead over the Vikings, but it could, as well as the Packers too, but depending on what they do, they could close the gap on the lead. So Lions still have the lead in the North right now, but, they're going to have to figure some stuff out. For me, this Lions loss, Goff and the turnovers is, I think, what I blame it on. So, because, 3 of the last 4 games have been multiple turnover games for Goff and, his center and the other people around him. So that problem still doesn't seem to be even fixed. Even the game that they won against New Orleans, the very first play of that game, Goff fumbled the snap. So now I don't know if it's a Graham Glasswell thing. I know Frank Ragnow is injured, and Ali McNeil has been out. He got injured the last game. He's out too. But, we're in crunch time now. This is later in the season. We don't want to see an epic collapse. That would be like the ultimate SOL thing. And we are done with SOL. I think Roger Goodell really screwed us with the schedule, and he knows it. And he's laughing his ass off right now because he put the majority of the NFC North games against the Lions in the second half of the season, knowing that those teams would get the opportunity to study the Lions game film from their first half of the season, and then they'd use it against them to make things more difficult for them in the second half when their Lions are going to try to win the NFC North. That's why Chicago's had a really good 2 games against us. That's why Green Bay had a good Thanksgiving game against us, and that might be why Minnesota has a good 2 games against us and 2 of the last 3 games of the season. So things like that are very concerning. So firing AG, if it happens, it'll probably happen at the end of the season, because I think Dan Campbell's, is his friend. It's going to be difficult to do that. And it's like writers, you got to, they say in writing a storytelling, you got to kill your darlings. And that might be a darling that Campbell might not kill till at the end of the season. And I'm hoping Hendon Hooker really starts making progress and is practicing because, for all the good things that Goff has done for us, I think Hendon Hooker, he's accurate at passing. He can run with the ball and doesn't make mistakes. And he doesn't have he has a rookie deal contract. Goff might be seeing his last 2 years in Detroit if he keeps up these turnover issues. Because, Hooker could do the same things that Goff can do, except he can run with the ball, doesn't make mistakes, and he doesn't have an expensive contract. And then the Lions can use that money to bring in the people that they need on defense to make the defense even better, as well as provide long-term stability for when the Lions offensive line gets injured, because the Lions offensive line was the biggest strength, yet, a lot of them were still getting penalties. Penalties was the other thing that killed us in this game too. They're still getting penalties, and, there's still injuries that are going on. Then, the pressuring the quarterback, even though to some degree, the quarterback should be able to work around the pressure, but Goff is not a quarterback that can do that. You have to have a perfect line around him for him to be effective. But a better quarterback, one that can win you a Super Bowl, knows how to work around those things enough. So just all around frustrating, you're trying to win a division and you lose a game to a team that has one of the worst records in the league. Although credit Chicago, they're one of the teams that has gotten better and better in a lot of areas, especially on defense. So they've become a difficult team to really play now. So this division could be super competitive in the next couple of years or so if teams like the Packers and the Bears keep up doing what they're doing. So Lions play at home against the Denver Broncos. Hopefully that's going to have to turn into a get-right game. And the Broncos, they had a really good winning streak where they lucked out a lot of wins, and they seem like they've gotten their stuff together too. So, and this will be Dan Campbell against Sean Payton, his former the head coach that he worked for 5 seasons with the Saints. So it all depends on which one of those guys knows the other one really well. So I think that'll factor into a lot of stuff there. So. But yeah, Lions lose to the Bears. Nothing fun about this game, and you kind of knew it at a certain point. You never want to give up on a team, but like after that last interception, it was just like, oh, dang it. But yeah, that's pretty much my recap of this game. So lots of stuff to clean up, and a lot of the same issues from the other games against the Bears and against the Packers popping up in this one again. So they stopped it. Turnover on downs. You know what that means. Melifanu, that's my boy. I'm sorry I doubted you. Thank you for the stop. Turnover on downs. Time to eat a cheeseburger. You guys like that, don't you? That's what you came in here for. Hey, can you eat a cheeseburger again? Can you eat a cheeseburger again? There you go. Lions made the Bears stop scoring, so now we get a cheeseburger eaten. You like that? You like that? Huh? All right, here we are at the Fridge Magnet Power Ranking section for now. And yeah, if you've seen my community post, you know who the top 5 teams are. You got number 1, the San Francisco 49ers. And by the way, I apologize for the lighting here because the kitchen where my fridge is at, the light just so happens to not be working. So I had to bring in a lamp. So that's why things look different. But the San Francisco 49ers do not look different because they are clicking on all cylinders, whipping the butts of the Philadelphia Eagles just a couple of weeks ago and taking care of business against the Seattle Seahawks in 2 of the last 3 weeks. You got Brock Purdy, who people are
talking about as a possible MVP candidate, not to mention the running back Christian McCaffrey. You got other big names like, Bosa, Kyle Shanahan, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, and the list goes on and on. And they're the first team this year to officially clinch a playoff spot. And since they took down Philadelphia, San Francisco has proven their dominance through the whole NFL for now as the most complete all-around team, although the AFC equivalent to them, the Eagles or whoever, the Baltimore Ravens, are going to be coming up to challenge them here in a couple of weeks. So we'll see how things play out there. But San Francisco's number one. Number two, Dallas Cowboys, who have been playing like they've been on fire lately. So they've been working really, really hard to be a really good all-around team and prove that they are the best team in the NFL. And they definitely are a top team. They officially beat and dethroned the Philadelphia Eagles, who seem like they've been in first place forever from this season and last season and so on and so forth. And they have that's resulted in a lot of things being shaken up in the top of the NFC, because now they are currently in the lead in the NFC North on the tiebreakers from that sort of stuff, while Philadelphia is now a wild card team, and which helps San Francisco get the top seed. But yeah, you got Bland, who's doing a bunch of pick six stuff. Dak Prescott is also playing as an MVP level candidate quarterback type of person. And, they're all around good team. Mike McCarthy's head coaching it up. The former Legion of Boom defensive coordinator is their defensive coordinator. And Cowboys have been fighting for this, and they're doing good there. And then you got number three, Baltimore Ravens. It's hard. I was planning on moving them down after I saw them struggle to beat the Rams and having to beat them in overtime. But considering how many other top teams lost this week, I figured why not just keep them there for now and then let things play out. But, they still got Lamar Jackson. They don't have Mark Andrews, but they have one of the best defenses, with the sacks and with the coverages and, great line both on the offensive side and defensive side. And their receivers are doing a good job, such as Odell Beckham Jr., and who's on that team, and definitely deserving of the 3 spot, because 4 is the Philadelphia Eagles, who have dropped all the way down to 4 for now. Luckily they're only at 4 because like I said, the other teams have lost and they've been struggling, the top teams. And Eagles have been struggling a little bit, although they've been playing some really, really good teams lately. So they just faced off against the 49ers, who whooped them within 3 quarters. And then they just got beat by the Dallas Cowboys, who at the Cowboys' home turf. So we all kind of figured it was Dallas's turn to win this epic rivalry, and that's what happened. But the Eagles, regardless of where they wind up, they're going to be in the postseason, and they're still going to be a really big threat going forward. So, even though they're not winning right now, they're still a team to look out for. Yes, I'm shuffling a deck of cards. Very poorly. But you'll find out why here in a minute. Number 5, I put the Cleveland Browns here. They won. They beat Jacksonville. I think it was Jacksonville they played, and, they still have top defense, and they just so happen to be not one of the top teams who is on a losing streak right now. So I figured why not reward them here and, let people know they're still got some stuff going on. They have Joe Flacco reigning at the reins of the quarterback, former Super Bowl champion. And they got Jim Schwartz as a defensive coordinator, not to mention a bunch of other good players on defense. And they're kind of there by default. So they'll probably get in the playoffs, and we'll see what kind of damage they can do with their defense. And then number 6, the Miami Dolphins, who just lost on Monday Night Football against the Tennessee Titans. And they did fight pretty well. Tyreek Hill had a lot of good plays in that game, and Tyreek Hill is a MVP candidate for being a wide receiver and well-deserved, still on his way to try to catch Calvin Johnson with single season yards and all that sort of stuff. But the month of December in recent history, hasn't been very kind to the Dolphins. So I still think they're going to win their division. But there's just a bunch of good teams that are doing not too good right now. And I think the Dolphins are one of the better teams of those teams right now. And then number 7, Jacksonville Jaguars. They deserve to be there just for the fact that they got Trevor Lawrence back. We all thought Lawrence went down from a cursed injury, but luckily he was able to come back. But they lost one of their best wide receivers a couple Monday Night Football games ago when they lost to the Cincinnati Bengals while they were playing their backup quarterback, Browning. And Jacksonville, they starting to have some heavier competition in their division all of a sudden with the Colts and with the Texans having good records, breathing down their necks. So, Jacksonville is still a good team. And then number 8, I got the Kansas City Chiefs here, who are on a 2-game losing streak, which hasn't happened for a while. And Patrick Mahomes is not happy about it, as we all saw with the refs and everything. So maybe that's the reason why he's unhappy. Maybe it's because maybe his wife is maybe not happy and he's having to hear about it because the wife has a new best buddy who's kind of asserted dominance within their social circles and their shopping sprees and everything. Who knows? Something like that could be what's going on, but they barely lost to Josh Allen's Bills. And last week they got, you could make an argument they got screwed over by the refs against the Packers last week, even though Kadarius Toney was clearly lining up offsides this week, which is like the big thing there. But the Chiefs, they have a pretty good offense, but their wide receivers just got to be able to catch the ball. And number 9, Detroit Lions, my Detroit Lions. And there's a number of teams here who have lost to bad teams, but I figured the Lions deserve to be at the bottom of that just because they've been struggling for a while, ever since before Thanksgiving. Since the first time they played the Bears, they struggled against them. And to the Bears' credit, their defense has improved significantly, and I think they're really good at disguising their coverages and their D linemen being able to deflect passes and stuff like that. And they've shown that against Detroit in these few games, and as well as the Vikings on Monday Night Football. Justin Fields is doing well as he can for his position, and their running back room is pretty healthy right now. So that combined with what's happening with the Detroit Lions, like Jared Goff continuing to turn the ball over, although his backup linemen probably aren't helping with that too much either. So and then their usual playmakers, St. Brown and Sam Laporta, not doing too much damage either. And you kind of wonder if the rest of the league has caught up to Ben Johnson, the offensive coordinator, and has kind of figured him out by now. In which case, Laporta, Ben Johnson's going to have to find creative ways to adapt to that, because that's what great coaches do. And not only that, I feel like, aside from the running backs, Jahmyr Gibbs, Montgomery, the passing options always seem to be like St. Brown and Laporta. And they just traded for a wide receiver, Donovan Peoples-Jones, who finally caught a pass for them in this game. And then they have Jamison Williams, who seems like they're using for gadget plays, like reverse plays, end around plays. Why not try to get them a few more deep passes and some contested catch situations, and not rely so much on the middle of the field type of options. So just my personal opinion. So I don't get paid to coach those guys or make their plays, so I don't know. But on the defensive side of the ball, I really did think the Detroit Lions improved defensively, at least for a while in that game against Chicago. They had some different people starting. For example, Fatu Melifonwu started at safety over Tracy Walker, and I noticed he did some good stuff there. And they had Alex Anzalone back, and then the offense just kind of the turnovers kind of made them put them out in the field too long than what they should have been. So But yeah, that for all that, Detroit's at 9. I think as long as they probably beat Minnesota at least once, and maybe like against the Broncos, maybe even by some miracle the Cowboys, then they should have the NFC North division wrapped up. And then at number 10, they are been one of the worst teams in the NFL, but they are one of the few teams with a winning streak with at least 3 games. I put the New York Giants at number 10. They had a shootout game against the Commanders a couple of weeks ago. They beat the Patriots in a pitcher's duel type of game, and then they upset the Packers on Monday Night Football. It wasn't pretty, but they got business done there. So taking advantage of what they could. So I figured the New York Giants, with their 3-game winning streak, they're deserving a little bit of recognition. So let's recap. Number 1, the San Francisco 49ers. Number 2, the Dallas Cowboys. Number 3, the Baltimore Ravens. Number 4, the Eagles. Number 5, the Cleveland Browns. Number 6, the Miami Dolphins. Number 7, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Number 8, the Kansas City Chiefs. Number 9, the Detroit Lions. And number 10, the New York Giants.
Goff passes. Caught. Reynolds. Touchdown, Lions. Lions take the lead. Scoring drive, 11 plays, 53 yards, 449 possession. Reynolds caps it off, 8-yard TD catch. This one's for you, Reynolds. Four cheeseburgers eaten and 3 Squidward bites taken.
And now we're going to go ahead and do this upcoming week's Pigskin Pick'ems, where I'm going to attempt to use my casual football fan knowledge to decide who's going to win each upcoming game. And it looks like, who are we starting with? The Los Angeles Chargers versus the Raiders. That's the Thursday night Amazon game on 12/14 at 7:15 p.m. Central Time, or 8:15. So we just found out that Justin Herbert just had season-ending surgery, but meanwhile they're playing the Raiders, who also are on their interim head coach, and they're using their backup. But I'm feeling like the Raiders won't be shocked with the playing with as much shock of the Herbert news as the Chargers are. So I guess I'll go with the Raiders for this win here. And then here's one of the first Saturday games, which will be played at noon Central Time or 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Minnesota Vikings versus Cincinnati Bengals. The Vikings just announced that they're not starting Josh Jacobs. They're starting some other guy with a few starts under his belt, and doesn't appear to be a mobile quarterback at all. And then the Bengals, they have a backup quarterback as well. And that backup quarterback has proven that he can put up points on the board with the weapons that the Bengals still have. So meanwhile, the Vikings also have the Packers breathing down their necks, which should probably put some pressure on them, not to mention the fact that it took them almost the whole game just to get a single field goal against the Raiders. So let's go with the Bengals here. And then another Saturday game, this one at 4:30 Eastern Time, 3:30 Central Time. This is Pittsburgh Steelers versus Indianapolis Colts. The Steelers are one of the most, if not the most, unpredictable team. And I think they're still without Kenny Pickett, while the Colts still seem to get business taken care of with Gardner Minshew. And they've been doing a good job of beating up bad teams, which has helped to boost their record and helping them get in the playoff contention. So I honestly don't know much about the Colts, but I know they have the Eagles offensive coordinator from last year, so that's probably been a factor. So let's pick the Colts here. And then here we go. The Saturday night game, 8:15 Eastern, 17 Central Time on Saturday the 16th. The one I'll be live streaming. Denver Broncos versus the Detroit Lions. An important note to make about this game: Dan Campbell was the assistant coach under Sean Payton for 5 seasons while they were at the New Orleans Saints. So both people should uh, really know each other quite well. In my preseason predictions, I actually predicted the Broncos to win this game just because I figured Sean Payton would know how to get under Dan Campbell's head a little bit. But I kind of feel like the Lions have a little bit more stakes here in terms of trying to, wrap up the NFC North here than the Broncos. Then they'll be playing home at Ford Field, and I can't remember the last time the Broncos have played there. I know Detroit played Denver there right around this time a couple of years ago when the Lions lost to Teddy Bridgewater, who's now their backup quarterback. So I think Lions are going to be angry and hungry after losing to Chicago to get this win. So I'll pick the Lions here. Nothing against Russell Wilson. They'll probably make it an interesting game, but I think Lions will take care of business and they'll control the ball with the running game and set up some of that play action and get back on track. And maybe even Jameson Williams gets a big touchdown somehow. Chicago Bears versus the Cleveland Browns. I think this will probably be a pitcher's duel. Both defenses are really good. I think Fields is better than Flacco. I think that's especially with the running option and being able to run around when they can. And DJ Moore, even though the Browns defense is good, DJ Moore might and Fields might make the difference on that one. I think I'll give this one to the Bears because they've been playing really well lately, and I don't think playing against the Lions and the Vikings is a fluke. All right. That was one of the first Sunday games. Here's another Sunday early afternoon game. Carolina Panthers versus Atlanta Falcons. Panthers are 1-12. Need I say more? Atlanta Falcons, while they're trying to do things for the division. Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Green Bay Packers. Oh boy. It depends on which Green Bay Packers team shows up because against the Giants, the team from earlier in the season with Jordan Love and everything, they showed up, and the Bucs are trying to win their division, and they're currently in a three-way tie, but they have the top. They win the tiebreakers right now, but it's played in Lambeau Field. I think this will be a very close one, but I think the home field advantage and not to mention this is a rematch from a few years ago when Tom Brady beat Aaron Rodgers there, but neither one of those quarterbacks is a factor here. But I think Green Bay will probably figure kind of things out a bit, and then they'll get the win here. Because who knows with Baker Mayfield. Houston Texans versus the Tennessee Titans. Texans dealing a lot of injuries to their key players right now. But the Tennessee Titans just beat the Miami Dolphins, and they looked pretty decent doing it, grinding out a win there. I really haven't checked up on CJ Stroud's and his health status, as well as some of the other people's, but I feel like DeMeco Ryans will have the Texans better coached on defense. So I think I'll go with the Texans here. Plus, they're fighting for a playoff spot more than Tennessee is. But you never know. New York Jets and Miami Dolphins. Jets defense versus Miami's offense. Both, I think, are borderline elite, if not elite, the Jets defense and Dolphins offense. And Miami does not tend to play well in December, and they're playing home, so you figure that weather would be cooler, which Miami people are not playing in. I'll take the Jets to be the spoilers here. They lost at this time to the Lions last year, so they'll get a win this year, I'll say. And then another one, New York Giants, who just beat the Packers versus the New Orleans Saints. One of the most bland, average teams that I can think of. But Yeah, even though New York beat the Packers last week, I still think they're probably going to be overwhelmed by the Saints, even though they're like an average team who has something to play for. So I'll give that one to the Saints. And then, wow, all these still like afternoon-ish games. Chiefs versus Patriots. Patriots already eliminated. They have no offense. Then the Chiefs, this will probably be a get-right game for them. So I'll go ahead and get the Chiefs here for obvious reasons. And then Washington Commanders versus the LA Rams. I do love me some Sam Howell and Jahan Dotson, and I think they're going to figure stuff out. This may be a shooting match, and never underestimate Matthew Stafford, but I think I like the Commanders for this one. Sorry, Stafford. And here's a later afternoon game: San Francisco versus Arizona Cardinals. That's a division game, but come on, San Francisco is the all-around best team, and what does Arizona have to play for except for the first-round draft pick? Let's go ahead and do that there. And then Dallas Cowboys versus Buffalo Bills. Ooh, that's probably going to be an interesting one. The Cowboys, like the 49ers, are like one of the best all-around teams right now. But Josh Allen could definitely very well play spoiler to stuff. But I think Dallas should be able to take care of business there, even if it's in Bills Mafia territory. Baltimore Ravens versus Jacksonville Jaguars. Didn't Jacksonville beat Baltimore earlier this year? I don't remember, but I think Baltimore's too good of a team. So why not give it to them? And what is that? That's the Sunday night football game. And then here's the Monday night football game with the Eagles taking on the Seahawks. Even though the Seahawks seem like they're heavily underdogs in certain games, they always put up a good shooting match, high scoring game. So I think they'll give the Eagles trouble, who's trying to bounce back, get a get right game out of this. So I'll give this one to the Eagles. And wow, this is a random one. How many points scored in Chiefs versus Patriots? Let's go ahead and go with 22. It'll be a lower scoring game with a missed field goal at some point. And yeah, those are my predictions. Who do I have winning again? Raiders winning, Bengals winning, Colts winning, Lions winning, Bears winning, Falcons winning, Packers winning, Texans winning, Jets winning, Saints winning, Chiefs winning, Commanders winning, San Francisco 49ers winning, Dallas Cowboys winning, Baltimore Ravens winning, and Philadelphia Eagles winning. There we go.
Ooh, boots the line drive to Raymond. So that's a punt, and you know what that means. I think I'll just take a big bite out of this one this time. You guys won't mind, will you? This won't jinx anything.
Yes. All right, this deck of cards, I call it my shield deck. Last week, I tried to do a wheel thing on my phone. Instead, I'm just going to draw a deck of cards. This shortened deck of cards has numbers 1 through 10 of all 4 suits. And then I'm going to shuffle a little bit more. I can only do this on the surface there. And then whichever number I draw from the top of the deck, that will be associated with the number of the power rankings I just did. And that team will be shielded from any curses this week. And I want to be perfectly clear that just because a team is shielded from the curses does not mean that they're automatically going to win. They could still lose. They're just not going to lose because somebody else cursed them, if that makes sense. So no whining, Patrick Mahomes, about that. Like, you guys were shielded last week, but even though you still lost, but it wasn't because you were cursed. So, all right, top deck. Actually, let's shuffle this a little bit more. You guys can tell I'm not up to any funny business, right? That is number 9. Oh my gosh, lucky me. The Detroit Lions are shielded. So, oh man, let's try it on the other side. So no wheels or no curses can do any damage to the Detroit Lions because they are shielded there. So go get them, Lions. Go get them indeed. And catch me for that Lions and Broncos game on Saturday night. I will be live streaming, and I will be doing something I haven't tried in a while. I will be bringing back Raid Bait, where I will try to get a Denver Broncos fan, motivate them to raid me. So tune in to see if I succeed or if I fail. So, but until then, go Lions, one pride.
Oh, crap. If the Bears don't score before halftime, I'll have to eat another cheeseburger for that, too. Nah, because none of them are stopped by turnover downs or punts or anything like that.